That's awesome. And to the relationship thing, like how do you guys cultivate that, like between you boys and just the vulnerability and the openness? Because I think it's so important, and so many people, especially guys, are so shit at being open, being vulnerable and honest. And you'll see it like with suicide rates and how high they are. And you know, it might be a guy and like he's been best mates with this group of guys for 30 years, and then all of a sudden he takes his own life, and those guys had no idea, but they're all best mates. And it's like, clearly not. Like clearly there was a barrier, and there wasn't an openness there. Otherwise you would have known. And yeah, so I think it's awesome that you guys have that, for starters. But what would you say is kind of the keys to having that within your friendship?
We've been unfortunate enough to have mates that have taken their own lives, during high school and the few years after high school, which is like a big reality check. It's a huge wake-up call. And there was a group called 180 that started in Avalon, who was kind of focused around mental health. And that was that they'd have like, meetings and group get-togethers, and people would start sharing how they were feeling. And I think that was like, for all of us, that was like, okay, this is like real. Like, and we have mates that are like taking their own lives because we're scared of the stigma of saying, hey, I'm not doing well. And that's like really fucked up. Like to be scared to tell your mates that you're not doing well. And I feel like we're both so open, and even me telling you guys the other day was so hard, like so hard. So there's still like levels to it. But I think it's just, it only takes one person to be vulnerable to get someone else to.
Yeah, vulnerability incites vulnerability.
Yeah, it's incredible the power one person opening up can have. And like, we've got other shit going on in our lives. Like, I've got some family stuff, and Spenny always checks on me like, how's that side of your life going? And it's like, some days if I'm up for chatting, I'll be like, dude, it's not good. And then we'll have a chat. And I think just like, it takes a weight off your shoulder. Right. Like it really does. When you've got this stuff going on inside you and then you can share it with a mate, it's like, yeah, it feels like there's a weight that gets taken off you. And I think that's when you're able to grow. Or like, even if you've got, insecurities or something and you tell someone about it, it's like, no one really cares. It's like they just want to help you and see you get through it. So I think that was a huge thing for me, like learning to be vulnerable, and people actually like connect with it a lot. Like I did a post on my Instagram story the other day, actually, just why I went to Bali. First time in my life I'd actually taken a trip for my mental health. And I just said to my social media world, like, I haven't been doing that good. Thanks for all the love for everyone. And I got over 200 message replies, like the most I've ever got. Like, we'd go to do these trips to Russia, and I take like the best photo I've ever taken and get shared around cool. But I've never, ever had that many responses to a story ever, like by triple that. So it was like, that was a big learning lesson for me. Like we feel it in our group. I usually keep my social media to business, photos, adventure, story. That was the first time ever. And to like feel that support from the community was like incredible. So I think just the power of vulnerability.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. It's so sick that you guys have that. And like, for you guys to find the balance between like the professional and the business relationship that you guys have. Like, I know for us, when we come together, it's just so easy to talk about the pod and what we want to do and all these things, but be like, no, like first of all, before like business partner, he's my best friend. And like, that's what matters more to me. He's my brother. Like, dude, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And I definitely find that like, it's a challenge to because we're so early on in this, like we're just so keen and so hyped, but it's like, dude, like put that aside for a second and talk about like what's going on in your life. It's so cool that you guys have cultivated that.